Well, hello everyone, welcome back. We are here today to go through and have a look at those top 5 soloing classes. They are all going to be endgame, one pay to win, you may have guessed which, and we're going to be going over everything from the easy to useness to the high damage potential as well. There's going to be a bit for everyone within here. We will be using Forge throughout this video, so that will be heavily impacting some of my choices made. And don't forget, there's loads of different classes in game, there's loads of different chronos, there's all sorts, but we're just kind of narrowing it down a little bit, meaning you can really zone in if you are especially a returning player or someone looking to get into the end game. We have classes like Hollowborn Vindicator. This has been buffed and changed about, all sorts of things like that since it first came out into the game, and it does play considerably better than it used to, so there's one class you could potentially consider. There are dodge classes such as Yami no Ronin, you've got Great Thief, Martial Artist, all sorts of different ones which may lack on the DPS side, but when it comes to soloing, if you want to stay alive and just make sure you're not getting nuked by the heavy hitting monsters in game, they're the sorts that certainly you could be looking towards. If you would like to pick up Yami no Ronin, there is a char page badge for it nowadays for completing the farm. It's over at Join Dark Ally, and that is where you can begin it. There's also classes such as Varus Doom Knight, which can solo but also have high elements of support with them as well. So if you're someone who wants a decent class that will keep you alive, does high damage but also wants to help some players out with specific debuffs, then that may be one to look at. You also can go over to Champion Drakov and pick up Chaos Avenger. This is still one of the best soloing classes you can get. It is plug and play, and the best thing with this one is if you don't have Forge, you're still going to do great with it. One of the downsides to getting Chaos Avenger is you do have to complete an Ultra Battle over a period of 4 or so weeks, that is Champion Drakov, which could present some people with a problem. Over at Time In, you can also speak to Chrono and look at getting the Dragon of Time class. I'm not the biggest fan of Dragon of Time, it's just not my play style, but it is a farming class, it will solo, and it has a pretty cool nuking mechanic. I lose count of how many times we've covered that class on this channel. The star rating is back, and you will see that throughout the next 5 classes, showing you how easy or how difficult they are to farm, and that is assuming you are starting without any pre-requirements, just to give you a bit of a gauge, in case it changes your mind for which one you really want to aim for. Right, we're starting Rogue. We're starting with Lich class. This one is seasonal, you can get it over at Join More Skulls, and this is difficult to obtain on the basis that you need to get rank 10 Grimskull Trolling, which is not the funnest thing to be doing in the world. I'm using Ravenous, Examine and Vainglory. The combo used is also on screen. This class is a little bit more on the complicated side to use, but if you have got Forge, you are going to be putting some great numbers out with it, and your survivability is also really good too, which makes it a very strong soloing option. We get well above 20,000 damage a second. Like I said though, the problem with this one is the 2 other Necromicons you need to get as part of the farm are nice and quick. They will not take you too long to get, but the rank 10 Grimskull is really painful. That is one that puts many people off. It is essentially a solo challenge fight dungeon for a series of monsters with specific mechanics to be thinking about as well. Plus, this is a Friday the 13th class, so if you're a free player, you can only get it during the Friday the 13th events. If you don't have the specific classes needed to go through doing the Grimgold dungeon, I'd recommend having a look at Chaos Avenger instead. Next up is Void High Lord. This is your typical Nulgath Regent farm, but you do also have dailies that will block your progress. The Roents of Nulgath item that you're going to need in the merge, they take 15 Elder's Bloods, which is a daily item. Alternatively, you can instead trade them for Ultra Nulgath insignias, so it just depends which way you want to go. If you have Nulgath farming pets and you're able to do Ultra Nulgath or have some insignias stacked up, you'll get this class incredibly quickly. In comparison, there are a couple of different ways you can play the Void High Lord class, but essentially you're fairly safe with it to El Spammo. It's another one that also, if you don't have Forge, is a good class to get. Next up, King's Echo Tamina Temple. This one is kind of mid difficulty to obtain, but I would say if you're a free player especially and you're someone that doesn't want to spend money on the game, this is the class you need to be targeting first. If you want to go into endgame farming, get King's Echo. This, to be honest, once you get it, you may never want to get another solo class anyway. The other thing with this is it's really good at farming high HP mobs, so you can use it as a multi-purpose class as well if you choose. You will get phenomenal damage out of this class regardless of Forge, so yeah, get King's Echo. If you're someone who wants a challenge, Arcana Invoker is the class for you. It is a very tricky farm, especially if you're doing it without ultras, but if you do get it, the rewards will pay off. On the surface of it, it always looks like a complicated class to use, but the truth it is once you reach Judgment, you can hit another 2 and then you've activated the world. Once the world is activated, you get a significant period of time with this big ring around you doing insanely enhanced damage. For me, this class is one of those that is just incredible for going along fighting high HP bosses, especially if you're solo, which is incredibly useful when you're going along trying to farm endgame bits, often alone in certain scenarios. You'll be able to use it for generic soloing as well. Plus, this class is also a 2-hitting farming class. So if you would like not only a solo class, but also one of the best farming classes in game, then Arcana Invoker is just a no-brainer. It is certainly an enjoyable class to use, especially if you want to have to think while you're using it. Whereas if you're after something a bit more El Spammo, I'd be looking towards King's Echo and Void High Lord. I do personally feel this is the second best soloing class behind what we're going to be looking at in a moment, especially on those long haul fights. It just comes down to personal preference though at this point, whether you want something you don't really have to think about what you're pressing skill wise so you can spam away, or if you would like something that is more challenging to obtain, use, but will reward you those higher DPS numbers. Then Arcana Invoker is probably the class for you. Let's move on to the big one then, Chrono Shadow Slayer / Chrono Shadow Hunter. To me, this is the best solo class you can get in game. It is pay to win. It is the 2024 Chrono class, so it will cost you 6,000 adventure coins if you would like to grab it. The thing with this class is it's really straightforward to use for a Chrono. Solo with Forge and without pots, you can also hit 1 million crits. It can be run as the DPS and Ultras if you wanted to. Then depending how you play the class, you also have a strong heal over time with it, as well as being able, I believe, to pretty much max the dodge on this class as well. So one question I get asked actually all the time is which Chrono should I get? And as a first Chrono, you really should be looking at Chrono Shadow Slayer or Chrono Shadow Hunter, whichever way around you prefer to call it. There are, of course, other great solo Chrono classes. Some are really complicated, like Corrupted Chronomancer and Shadow Stalker, and then you've got Time Killer, which is kind of like a Void High Lord equivalent. That's how I always describe it. All in though, you can see we're getting over 50,000 damage a second, and if you were to pot up, you're going to go even higher than that. Just looking at 2.5 million damage done in under a minute is crazy. At least it's crazy to my mind. So there you go, that's Chrono Shadow Slayer, Chrono Shadow Hunter. If you wanted me to pick a best solo class in this video, that's the one I'd be picking. So to summarise, get first King's Echo class. Once you have it, you may choose not to go for anything else anyway. Old but gold, Void High Lord is an absolute classic, you can't go wrong with it. If you have Nulgath farming pets, it'll be nice and quick, and if you can do ultras as well, otherwise it may take you a bit longer. Lich is seasonal to Friday the 13th, if you don't fancy getting that, you could swap it out for any of the classes featured at the start of the video. If you want something that is a challenge, long build up, high reward, Arcana Invoker is the way to go, and potentially the second best solo class in the game. And then you've also got the best solo option, which is going to be a Chrono Shadow Hunter, but it will cost you 6,000 adventure coins for the privilege, but it will be well worth your while. Anyway folks, I hope you enjoyed this video, something a bit different, a different way of me doing these top series videos, and we'll be back for more really soon, so let me know what topics you'd like me to cover next down below.